see ourselves. Look at it.
All right, we're live. I'm not supposed to talk.
Damn it, you screwed up last week on that.
All right, we got a couple of minutes.
Gotta listen. All right, we're starting.
We're starting at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
I didn't have to hold my speech very long.
It's tavern time, Patriots. He's Jack, of course. I'm Dennis. Let's stand for a pledge of allegiance and Mike's prayer. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mike.
One prayer coming up.
Okay, Titus 3:5. Not by works of righteousness which we have done, but according to his mercy he saved us, by the washing of regeneration and renewing of the Holy Ghost. Let's pray. Dear Father, salvation cannot be earned. Grace cannot be demanded as payment for our services. Lord, no matter how we strive to live in righteousness, we will always fall short of your standards. Lord, you know this. Otherwise you would not have sent your Son for the salvation of all who claim his name. Lord Father, you did send him, and the Holy Ghost is with us today because of our neediness. Thank you, Lord Father, for making our perfection possible in the life to come. By ourselves, we would certainly fail. With you, Lord Father, anything is possible. We pray this in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. All right, let's get into it.
Yeehaw!
Jack and I appreciate everyone that listens. We're getting bigger. We're doing good. We appreciate you guys for trusting us, and we appreciate all of you. But we need to hear more from all of you. Give us some ideas on the topics you want us to talk about. Give us some ideas that you want answers to. We'll do what we find. We'll do what we can to find the information. You know, if you want to be a guest on the show, let us know.
Yeah, we'll put you on this little mechanism called the phone.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, they tell me.
We got a friendly debate and find common ground, and we can all agree on what we can do to make this country better. That's people from every political party, and even those not registered to vote. See, we can't be just fed up with politics. We must come together to fix our country. And that starts with the Independent Constitutional Party. We're not going to mention that too much today. We're going to talk about a couple different things. So get involved in join the conversation. Rise up and win. That's what we're going to do. We're going to rise up and win. So you're probably wondering why you have two groups: United States Constitutional Group and an Independent Constitutional Party. I hear that.
Do you?
I hear that every now and then. So the USCG was the first group we came up with, and we feel that changing that right now would confuse everyone, because that's more of just an education, fun place to be. You know, after a few months of doing this, Jack and I decided to get more involved and start a political party, a minor party, where we can all have a say, not just Republicans, not just Democrats, all of us. You know.
You'll find that too, same as me and Dennis. We started a nice little group. We joined a few Republican groups that were out there, and we were like, this is crazy. So then we started, because we were going to talk about, whatever stuff Republicans, and they weren't talking about it. And we were like, this is nuts. So we started doing our own stuff, and we started reading these. I was always a reader of history, but now I try and understand what our founding fathers, why were they writing this way? And it's like, wow. And then me and Dennis were like, time for a new party. Get a new party, get a minor party going.
I've been saying this for 30 years that we need a new party. One that can reel these other ones in.
I'm a slow learner.
I think they're like beyond reach right now. Republicans do one thing, Democrats do another, and they're not helping this country at all. But that page we just talked about is for letting off steam, as well as some education.
And ideas. We get a lot of ideas.
Yeah. And as well as informing everyone what's going on in our country, So keep posting. We get a lot of information on that page, and we appreciate it. The ICP, that party, is what we're trying to build for people that are fed up with our country and the way it's going. That page where we come together and get folks involved in our grassroots movement. for some reason a post you submit on the ICP gets declined, don't take it personally. We get censored and monitored by Facebook,
Yeah, all the time.
and unfortunately, we gotta look by their standards as of right now. Today, I just wanna keep up with showing you why we feel both parties are not what this country needs to move forward. Last week, we picked on a Democrat representative. His name is Eric Swalwell from California, remember that?
Yeah.
So this week, I want to mention a Republican that wants to be elected as a House member. He's a wannabe senator, assembly, or what is it? House of Representatives.
Representative.
Yeah. He's from Western New York. His name is Carl Palladino. Another liar that wants to represent parts of Buffalo. This is another reason why we can't trust politicians or wannabes. Twice in 1 week, in a 7-day period, this moron had to walk back comments that he put on Facebook for everyone to see and hear. I don't know if you saw this.
No, I didn't see it, but it sounds like what the president does every day. He says something, and then the executive board, the executive branch is like, no, that's not what he meant. This is what he meant. Whatever he meant, this is what he said.
So the first one was that Facebook post that was removed, which he said he didn't even write it. Then he admitted he did. What a liar. This man should not run for any office. He thinks we're all stupid people.
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, I look like a big fat dummy. I get it. People, that's what I represent a lot of times. But, when you start reading these things, sometimes people go, yeah, sometimes that guy
says some good, smart things.
Right.
But this guy doesn't say anything smart.
Wow.
So on June 1st, he stated that in almost every mass killing, including the Buffalo shooting last month, are strange occurrences that are never fully explained and included theories about CIA mind control. Has the CIA done experiments before? Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sean.
In order for us to understand is how we make change. Also, we need to reduce the size of our government and re-implement our U.S. Constitution. And Julie said, I forgot you're 7. It's my 6.
Oh shit! Sorry, Julie. You know what? That's right. We got to start.
Advertising more.
We got to start. When we say 7, it's Standard Eastern Time.
Right.
Sorry, Julie. But Julie, listen. Move back over here. We'll go out for some dinners. We have fun, and you can watch us at 7 instead of 6.
So talking about Buffalo shootings and active shooters in general, that was his first problem. He said he never wrote it. This is what he said. I just don't remember the fact that I published it. I couldn't remember. It was written by another and published because it was a good friend. He was a good friend.
Sounds like this guy's at the tavern too much.
He didn't even give credit to the person who wrote it.
Well,
That's borderline plagiarism.
because he couldn't say the friend because it's an imaginary friend. Nobody sees that friend.
He wants to represent you in New York. Then on June 9th, in headlines, saying Hitler is the kind of leader we need. Now he says it was a mistake.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
You can't make this stuff up. It's
what party is
crazy.
he with? Republican, you said, right?
Yeah, we picked on Democrats last week, picked on Republicans this week. This is what happens when idiots run for office. They're backed by other idiots. Carl Palladino, write that name down, New York, Western New York. He said he was wrong to invoke all Hitler when he said in an interview last year that was the kind of leader we need today because of his ability to rally crowds.
Yeah, well, it's hard not to go to that rally when you're forced to.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't go to my rally, you're going to jail. They do the same thing in Cuba.
Yeah, they do.
They got a whole big parking lot. It's not even a field, it's a parking lot. It's where they bring all those 50s cars, so stooges like us,
Say it's
tourists
a great
go, let me
country.
drive in this hunk of shit that's been out of our country for 50 years. Yeah, give me a ride around town. And every year, they go listen to Castro, let everybody know how great he is.
Yeah, so in an interview on WBEN radio in February 2021, Palladino brought up Hitler when asked by host Peter Hunt about how to rouse the population and get people thinking about the possibility of change. And that's what our party's trying to do. get people to change. Think about change. We're not gonna change you, we're gonna think about change.
Well, we're not even changing. What we're doing is,
Just bring them back.
right, it seems like change because people don't remember the time when government represented you. This is a representative government. You're voting somebody in to do your work and have the rules and govern for you, because if you went and did it for yourself, it'd just be mob rule. You can't do it.
Right.
So you got to elect. And that was what the founding fathers did. They put 3 branches of government in for checks and balances. But guess what, folks? The founding fathers were so smart that they put a check and balance on us. And our responsibility is to put the people in these places of power to govern that are going to do your job for you. And we don't do that anymore. We don't put that person in office anymore. We don't put the person in office that's going to take care of you and your family and your friends and your community and your state and your country. They take care of themselves, the machine that feeds them, which is usually the press, which is I'm going to cover a little today. So there are 3 checks and balances inside of government and 1 outside of government for us to put the right people in government. This is what we're trying to tell you folks what you got to do. You are hiring somebody to do your job in Washington, D.C. because you can't get there, especially if you're from Oregon, Washington, California. How are you going to get there every time you got to vote on something? You can't. And that's why it's not a true democracy, this country. It's a republic. Because if it was a democracy, we'd all be going there and we'd be saying, I want this. And it'd be mob rule. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. In 2016, he wrote that he wanted to see President Obama dead of mad cow disease. And First Lady Michelle Obama returned to being a male and let loose in the outback in Zimbabwe, where she was completely in a cave with Maxie the gorilla.
Holy shit.
This guy's a freaking moron.
Wow.
It's wrong when Democrats say it about a sitting president, like they did attack Trump.
Oh, yeah, I got it right here.
And it's wrong when a Republican talks about a president and his wife. You are a freaking moron, dude. People
Boy, you guys making friends out there, that guy.
I just can't stand these politicians anymore.
Yeah.
It's unprofessional. It's ethically wrong. These hirings, that's what I want to say. They want people to die. They don't care about you. They care about what they do. That's it. And we wonder why we have 250. We've had 250 mass shootings this year. These politicians are part of the problem.
They're raising. Listen, when we said it last week, when you raise kids in school from preschool through college, and they tell you, listen, you're a piece of shit because you're white. You're a piece of shit because you're black. You're a piece of shit because you're Spanish. You're a piece of shit because you're Asian. An immigrant, you're no good. Rich, are you an animal? Poor, you're terrible. So these kids are growing up from preschool through college that them and everybody that goes to school with them are terrible human beings because of who they are.
Right.
So what do? They go do a mass shooting and they take out everybody that's terrible. And these kids are impressionable. They have to start teaching children math, science, English, social studies, how to balance a checkbook, how to live life, how to pay your bills, how to go get a job. These are things that and then the parents have to teach them ethics and respect and responsibility. But they're not. Why? Because socialism thrives on division of the people.
Sectionalism.
They thrive on that, and if how many small businesses are in a socialist country? None. They're all big conglomerates, usually government run. If they're privately owned, they're government mandated, and usually from another country. This is what's happening, folks.
So again, Republican and Democratic politicians and wannabe politicians are the problem here. They are never going to be able to solve issues of America. They're too focused on partisan politics. So Jack, what are we going to talk about this week?
We're going to talk about the press.
Oh, media, my favorite.
Yes. You want me to go first?
It's a great topic, man. It's a great topic.
I don't have much, so
We
I
talked about it in previous shows at length. too.
Yeah, right. Well, this one's going to be all on that. I'm going to have help from I love this guy's writing. He's a genius. Mark Levin. And I have his book. It's Unfreedom of the Press. So I have some of that. And I just wanted to make a little note for everybody out there. We said this last week also, and I just want to reiterate it because it deserves to be it. So before I start talking, I want to say my condolences to the 2 cops in California that got killed from a guy that should be doing a 3-year stint. He got arrested on a gun charge, a felony gun charge.
This is what Democrats are complaining about now.
So this goes to my point that we said last week. This man was arrested for a felony gun charge, was supposed to do 3 years in prison. He got paroled, went and stabbed tried to kill his wife with a knife, stabbing her. These 2 cops go there, they get killed, and my condolences to their family. And in California law, because of this World Economic Forum party of 260 billionaires like George Soros, who funded this guy's campaign and got him into office, now makes it the tax dollars got to pay for this animal that should have been in jail. They got to pay for his funeral. They have to pay for psychological help for his family because he died. All of these things they got to pay for. The tax dollar has to pay for this guy after he kills 2 frontline. And I think the count is 4 or 5 children left behind, 2 wives. This is why you should not be allowed to collect any campaign fund outside of wherever you're running for office from. So for the media, if you want me to get started.
Yeah, go ahead.
So that's that. But I wanted to just here's the smallest thing about the media's slant in life. And I'm not saying I'm for this or against it. It's an example of what's going on today in the media. Golf. I know a lot of people aren't fans of golf. I am because I live down here, and I was when I lived in New York. But I watch a lot of golf.
We play once in a while.
Great. I mean, we get our money's worth. We call it playing. We lose golf balls. We go out there.
What's this video?
So, yeah, okay. But, so golf started a new league. It's called Live Golf. And Saudi Arabia is supposed to be a big contributor, maybe the only contributor, I don't know, to this golf league. So the PGA is all, they suspended all the players. They're not allowed to play in any PGA. There's 17 of them, but there's 48 people playing in the first round of golf. They play 8 times a year. They get paid stupid money. All right? So all sports get paid stupid money, if you ask me. I have 4 children, my wife and myself. There's 6 of us. If I was to go to a Met game today, between parking, the 6 tickets, some soda, popcorn, or a hot dog, probably cost me $1,000. That's ridiculous for these guys to play a kid game running around out in the field. So this is, I mean, these people should be on some kind of leper island or something like that, playing for this, because Saudi Arabia is paying for it. ESPN's in charge of all of these news agencies are covering this live golf like these guys committed some kind of homicide themselves, because Saudi Arabia is paying this big money for these guys to go. Here's where the press doesn't cover things, though. All right? A few channels out there covered the kneeling for the national anthem at the football games. Right? No big deal. A little blip. Guys are dying over there overseas, men and women of our service, to protect that flag. But they're going to kneel because, you know, it's tough being a millionaire sports guy, you know. The PGA itself. The European PGA is funded by
Dubai?
Huh?
Is it Dubai?
Dubai. They're funded by Dubai. They changed. It's not even a European Golf Tour anymore. It's called the DP League. And they give a big trophy out. They go for the Dubai Cup. You know, Dubai's not way up there on human rights either. But that's okay. They show every round, 4 days a week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. These people are part of the world rankings. They're part of the FedEx Cup. They're part of all of it. All right? But that's okay. Nobody talks about the NBA. I mean, there's so much Chinese money coming in because they're very good to their people. I mean, they love their people. They're hugging them every day as they go into concentration camps. Never mind, the President of the United States is getting ready to go to Saudi Arabia itself, meet the Crown Prince, bend knee, and plead to this guy to start drilling and pumping more oil so he can get lower gas prices and get out of. Meanwhile, we're standing over enough oil and natural gas to last generations in our own country. So the press doesn't cover that. But they'll cover these guys, these 48 guys. Yeah, they're getting crazy money for it. But hey, I don't think any of these athletes should be getting paid the money they're getting. Arnold Palmer, he started playing golf in the 50s and ended in the 80s or 90s. I think he even went into 2000 for a few stupid things that he did. Made just over $2 million in his entire, all those years playing golf. These guys make $2 million winning one thing. All right, so the guy that won from Live Golf made four point something. So, am I saying it's right or wrong? Hey, listen, I don't walk on water. It's not my business. But the press should be covering all athletes, all sports, all politics. Listen, if it's no good to go to Saudi Arabia and get paid for playing golf, well, then it's no good to go to the Crown Prince with hat in hand as the leader of the free world, the most powerful country in the world, and say, more soup, please. Nobody says anything about that? What are we doing? So that's what we're going to talk about today. This media has a responsibility to make sure what's going on. Also, what they're covering in the media is they calling it a red mirage. Everybody watch out for the red mirage. Did you hear this?
I didn't hear this.
You didn't hear this? Because I watch a lot of different news, so I can see what they're saying. It's infuriating, but I do it anyway. The Democrats are saying just because the Republican is winning an election on election day doesn't mean they win. Wait until the mail-in ballots come in. Does that sound familiar? We advertised it last week. We don't have any resources. We don't have any staff. We've had a lot of people want to talk about the 2020 election. We can't talk about it because it's only our opinion. We don't have any hard evidence. We don't have any means. We don't have any sources. We don't have nothing. We just have us and what we read and see. So it's all hearsay. So we won't do anything on hearsay. 2,000 mules. Get this, it's on Rumble. You can go on there and you can order it. 2,000 Mules gives a point of view of the 2020 election with some sort of scientific computer facts that they're talking about. I don't understand it. I get the gist of it. I understand what they're saying. I get it. Again, it's not enough for us to do a show on this. They did. They felt like it was enough. They understand it. So if you want to talk about that, this is a lot of stuff that the media should be doing, but they're not. And that's the red mirage. The red mirage. It's not going to be a red monsoon or a red rave. It's going to be a red mirage. All right? Another way of saying it's not going to. So here's my first question of the day. I like to ask everybody to ask yourself a question. Well, here's the question I'm going to ask you right now. Today, would you believe the mainstream media or a weekly tabloid more? Which one would you believe more? You know, the little newspapers while you're waiting to check out at the grocery store? Aliens have 6 heads.
Neither one.
Right? So, ask yourself, which one would you believe more? Because I'm going to fight and argue and not argue or anything. Try to make my point on why I would sometimes maybe believe the tabloids. I don't know. Or neither. And that's unfortunate because
I would go to neither.
Yeah, because it's laughable if you believe the tabloids first, and it can be. But let me tell you something. As you start reading these documents that we keep telling you to read, the Declaration, Constitution, Federalist Papers, the Anti-Federalist Papers,
Fred Douglass.
yeah, Fred Douglass, all of these things that went on, you know, all through the Mayflower Compact, all of these things. You are putting yourself to a higher standard because you're understanding things. So you're putting yourself to a higher standard. So now it's time for you to put the people you put in office into a higher standard. But it's also time for you to put the standard. The person that's going to tell you what the guy's doing that's in office for you most of the time is the press. The press is there to let us know what the powerful are doing. And they're not doing it. They're not doing it. Like Mark Levin said, they cannot push an agenda and then cover it as news. And that's what they're doing. They're pushing an agenda and then they cover it like news. And they're doing it not just with agendas, but they're doing it with criminal acts. The FBI or the Department of Justice itself will find something out. Oh, we got this. Leak it to the press. Now the press puts it out. So since the press put it out, the FBI goes, hold on, press put that out. Maybe we should look into it. They're the ones that told the press. So how is this possible? How is the Department of Justice, CIA, Secret Service, all of these people that are supposed to be protecting the morals and scruples of our country, they leak something out to the press. And now because the press said it, well, where'd you get that from? Can't tell you. And now the FBI goes, oh, we heard this is going on. We're going to investigate. We've had years of that. It's not allowed to happen that way. The press is not allowed to do it. They are there to check the powerful. Unfortunately, the press has turned into the powerful. So, I don't know if Dennis is going to tell you this or not later. But here's the thing. We're going to put it on the website. As many as we can get. Emails, phone numbers, and mailing addresses to all of these press outlets. So when you're sitting there and you're watching the news and CNN says something like, here's some examples of what CNN and MSNBC and other ones have said, we want you to write them or email them or call them and say, what do you mean by that? Not controversially, inquisitive. How do you see that? How is that possible? Here's one example from Mark's book. When Trump goes out there, when Trump goes out there and whips people up, it's like a Mussolini rally. And yes, that's what I said. MSNBC host Joe Scarborough. You know who Joe Scarborough is?
Oh, yeah.
He was an elected Republican. Now works for MSNBC and does a morning show. Coffee with Joe.
Morning Joe.
Yeah, Morning Joe. All right? Here's another little tidbit from good old Morning Joe, Republican, that us constituents elected in. It's our responsibility to call out those times when constitutional norms are being challenged. Those times when the President of the United States actually channels Joseph Stalin and calls the media the enemy of the people. First off, he's allowed to say that our job is, it's our responsibility to call out those times when the constitutional norms are being challenged because American people don't know what a constitutional norm is. But they're not taught in school anymore about the Constitution. We don't read the Constitution. We don't understand the Constitution. So he's allowed to say something like this. He's allowed to say something like this all day long. So if you have his phone number or his email or his mailing address, say, exactly what constitutional norm did he break when he did this? Ask them. Because I guarantee you they don't know. Here's another one. The world witnessed a betrayal of the likes of which we've never seen. America's president sided with the enemy today. CNN host. Guess who this was? This guy's squeaky clean. I mean, like a whistle clean. Chris Cuomo. He's calling out the president of the United States, this bastard. He can't even keep himself clean. He's in the light every day. All right? Here's one for you. Article 3 and Section 3, the Constitution says this. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. Period. Then they discussed, did Trump do this? This is CNN host Don Lemon, another genius. We just so happen to have the Constitution here. And my friend, he forgot a very critical part about Article 3, Section 3. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort, period. Right? That was the end of it. No, it's not the end of it, folks. No person shall be convicted of treason unless the testimony of 2 witnesses to the same overt act or on confession in open court. Do you think that's a big deal in that section 3?
They got that from the Bible. Need 2 or more witnesses.
Here we go. So here you go to press again. Half stories are just as bad as lies, but they can get away with it.
Right?
Why can they get away with it?
Because nobody knows the
Because
Constitution.
we don't know. I got one more. This one. If you vote for Trump, then you, the voter, you, not Donald Trump, are standing at the border like Nazis going, you here, you here. It's a given. The evilness of Donald Trump. MSNBC guest Donnie Deutsch. So now not only are they talking about Republicans that are in office, folks, they're coming after you. Said it right here. These are quotes. You can find what these were said, where they were said, when they were said, how they were said, all the context. All you gotta do is go on CNN and look at what on that date. They're not just going after the Republican Party. They're not just going after the Democrat Party. They're going after you
People
folks.
Party.
Yes.
You know, I think most. Go ahead, Sean.
All right, we got a bunch here. Julie said, I agree with the campaign funding. Margaret says, we still have 100 people in Afghanistan, and the media doesn't even mention it. They only
Sure.
cover what benefits their agenda. Hold on. We should drill domestically.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. They're planning on cheating again. Are they planning on cheating again? The tabloids.
Listen,
Media.
are they planning on cheating again? We always say it again. If you hear what they're saying, they're telling you this. So if they're telling you this, what do you think? You know, like this Republican that he was talking about. These are the wishes he wants. Does he really want that? Well, he said it. So that some little part in his head wants it. So if these Democrats got it so far that a little guy like myself, I'm a blip on the screen. I'm not even a blip on the screen. I'm a who's been, used to be, has been. And if I found out that they're saying that this is just a red mirage, well, guess
We'll see
what?
in November.
You know what? You'll see. You'll see.
Margaret also said tabloids are the media anymore. There aren't any reports anymore. We become the fact checkers, and that was it for now.
Yeah, well, we should become the fact checkers. And we're going to get those addresses, those phone numbers, and those emails out to you. And when you watch the news, if you have any question about it, whether it's good or bad, indifferent, whatever it is, and you don't go at them hard, you go at them inquisitively. Hey, what did you mean by this? I'd like an explanation to it. Not a blip, not a 3-second, 2-second, 1-second word on mainstream TV at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock prime time. What do you mean by that? How did you come to that?
Yeah.
Find out.
Now,
Because if they start getting enough of them, they're gonna be like, "What the hell's going on here?
yeah, people are waking,
Why
are waking up.
why are people questioning me?"
Yeah, people are waking up. But I don't think most people really get it about the mainstream media. They don't get it yet. Because there used to be a time when commentators and news media outlets were respected. They did a great job.
There's a lot of people that watch CNN, MSNBC. I say CNN regularly because it's always in the airports and stuff. They pay to be in the airports. They paid just for them to be there. So they believe them because they don't look and they don't know and they never read any of this stuff.
You know, news organizations were good back then because they reported the news, good and bad. And that's what people wanted to hear. So we still want to hear that today.
Right. And there was a time when they were two sides to the press. for this party, for that party. This is going back before it was Republican, Democrat. But they said it. Listen, we're working for this side. These people, like Mark Levin said, they're pushing an agenda, and they're covering it like news.
Yep. So today's so different. We've reached the point in our history that media outlets are a joke, but not even laughable anymore. They're just downright awful. Who believe that listeners, such as us, you, are loyal subjects. And it's their job to make you believe anything they tell us. Anything. So we'll talk about political journalism. What is political journalism? It aims to provide voters with the information to formulate their own opinion and to participate in community, local, or national matters that will affect them. That's what they're supposed to do. What are they doing today? They give us their opinions and always try to put a different spin on the story. Even if they don't have all the facts,
Any facts.
they will withhold all information to create panic in listeners. Every news organization does this. They only tell us what they want us to hear, not the truth. The truth does not sell stories. Misinformation does.
Yeah, it does.
You know?
Crisis does.
People love to hear gossip and anything about anything and everything. So why should the news be any different? I mean, all you have to do is listen to Fox, get their spin on politics. Listen to CNN, get their spin on politics. And then somewhere in the middle, that's what actual truth is.
I don't know.
I
You
don't
think so?
know.
I don't know.
It's kind of
There's-
hard to believe this.
Yeah, what you got to do is whatever event that they're covering, you got to look at it yourself and see what happened. When somebody said something, YouTube is there. Everything's there. The computer's there. Listen to what the guy said, or gal, in person.
These media organizations are terrible because they withhold information.
Yeah.
Or they just state talking points for politicians. That's for both parties.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to stop. I mean, it's really sad that media outlets and commentators become this way.
Yeah. Well,
You got Sean Hannity, you got Tucker, you got Don Lemon, you got.
Don Lemon's the worst.
He is.
That man's just dumb.
Yeah. So what can we do about it? How do we hold the media accountable? I mean, we can't even hold our politicians accountable because we always vote for the same people. People need to get out there of their house and start getting involved. So there are a few different ways that I see. Turn off the news outlets altogether. When they start losing thousands of listeners, maybe that dim light bulb might come on.
Well, I think they're cashing in on tax dollars.
That could be it too. Stop buying newspapers like the New York Times, the New York Post, local newspapers that you can buy. Stop supporting them all. With the Georgetown Times, costs $1. Don't even buy it. It's useless.
$1 for a newspaper, a local newspaper.
Try and find an independent news channel. I haven't found one yet. Hey, but I'm still looking. Don't just get your source from one outlet. Look around. Get both sides of the story.
You got to get both sides of the story, and then you'll know what to look for, so you can find those live blips.
Yep.
Oh, here's what this guy said. This is what it means.
Not them like taking stuff out of a
They edit it,
Yeah, don't edit it. Leave it unedited so we all can make it.
and then
So
when you
basically, don't buy into the hype.
right, and then when you find the real stuff because you did your due diligence, it doesn't take long. I mean, if you watch a half an hour of news, it might take you half an hour to look for the real stuff. That's when you write the letter or the email. You make the phone call. What do you mean by that? Because you got the answer ready. You did it.
There are so many podcasts out there that cover politics and news. Listen to them. You don't need these news agencies. Don't get brainwashed because they're doing it to a lot of us. And we already have enough folks in the country that are brainwashed.
I mean, they're starting in preschool now.
Stay away from the news with conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
There's a ton of them out there. From left-wing to right-wing groups. They want to destroy America. And in a few minutes, I'll give you some statistics about the media that they never talk about. Blake Jack had some interesting methods that we're going to come up with, finding the numbers and the emails, even on Facebook.
Mhm.
They
They all have Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts, email accounts,
Twitter,
phone numbers, old-fashioned snail mail. I mean, it might take them a while to finally get that. I don't think anybody works in the mailroom anymore, but eventually you get to them.
Just remember, if you email them, it'll take them longer. Like,
Not even my brother works for the post office anymore. He even retired.
Did you sign in the post office?
Hey, he showed up.
He got paper cuts.
Yeah, he was talking about that tonight. His hazards of work getting paper cuts.
So let's talk about we the people and why we don't trust the media. 36% of U.S. citizens have a great deal or fair amount of trust in the media. That means over 60% of the population doesn't trust them. Democrats trust the media the most, 68%. I think they're brainwashed the most.
What agendas? They got a lot of channels. They got CNN, MSNBC,
MSN.
CBS, NBC, ABC, this C, that C.
ESPN.
So you got the whole alphabet and half the numericals.
Independent trust comes in at 31%. Republican trust stands at 11%. So we always hear the word transparency, but do we get that? Tell you what, I'm having problems with I'm not having problems, but my HOA, all I hear is from the residents. They want transparency from the board, and we're not getting it. It's the same thing all across the country. People want transparency, but again, we don't get it. We don't get it from our presidential administration. We sure as hell don't get it from our members of Congress, and nothing in the line of transparency with our media outlets and commentators. It's ridiculous.
I tell you what, they don't even know, the editors and producers of these media outlets don't even know what their writers and on airtime people are doing when they blast it on Twitter. You know, they put something out there and they're like, whoa, where the hell did that come from? Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, I just had to cut you off for this one because it's pretty funny. So, Amy said panic causes fear, fear gives them control. That was earlier. She said, excuse me, but we get the mail across the country for minimal cost with accuracy and great customer service, gentlemen.
But do you get paper cuts?
Well, I did the real work.
Oh! There we go, Margaret. Mike says he did the real work in the post office.
Political podcast, A Family Feud.
So the media needs to earn our trust back. We must hold them accountable when they don't tell the entire story. Like Jack said, we do it by emailing. Do your own research. Find your own, news media outlets in your town, in your state. All these other commentators your local ones. Get on their butts about when they make dumb statements, because they do make dumb statements. We have enough corruption in politics. All right, we don't need it in the media too.
We got it though.
Right, you're right.
It's here.
So I found this in Pew Research under Americans blame unfair news coverage on media outlets, not the journalists who work for them. This was October 2020. Overall, about 8 in 10 Americans, 79%, say news organizations tend to favor one side when presenting the news on political and social issues.
Not one side or the other, just one side.
Yeah. That was in 2020. Far fewer, 20% say the organization deals fairly with all sides.
20%, huh?
I want on this part. Why the news is not the truth. By Peter Vanderwijk. This was in 1995.
Well, they did a study, Times Magazine, around World War II, and it came out after World War II was over, how bad the press was back then.
So I'm sure it's even more prevalent today.
Yeah, well.
The U.S. press, like the U.S. government, is a corrupt and troubled institution. Corrupt not so much in the sense that accepts bribes, but in a systemic sense. It fails to do what it claims to do, what it should do, and what society expects it to do. The news media and the government are entwined in a vicious circle of mutual manipulation, myth-making, and self-interest. Journalists need cries to dramatize the news, and government officials need to appear to be responding to crisis. Too often the crises are not really crises, but just fabrications. These two institutions have become so ensnared in the symbolic web of lies that the news media are unable to tell the public what the truth is, and that the government is unable to govern effectively. That was in 1995. 27 years ago. Just think to today. It's even worse today.
Wait a minute. When did 1995 turn to be 27 years ago?
37.
no, it's
Fourteen?
I just time went away. I didn't realize 1995 was 27 years ago.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It's
Yeah,
27.
yeah, 27. You know, you didn't do your homework.
Apparently,
You need to do your
Dennis
homework.
is not going to do his math homework.
Yeah, 1960 was 27 years ago.
Right.
Barely passed math. So that's why I don't like. So, do your homework as well on your media and as well as your current government clowns, because they're worthless. They're tyrants and thieves, and that's my opinion. Neither one of them tell the truth, and we the people don't hold them accountable. So do your own research and get this done. Jack, any last thoughts?
Yeah, I got my last thought here. Here's what I'm going to say for my last thought. We always say, go out, learn these things that we say, you know, read the Declaration of Independence, read the Constitution, then understand them. The way you understand them, read the Federalist Papers, read the Anti-Federalist Papers. Read these documents that these people wrote down. You will read some, go on the website and look what my brother Mike puts on there. Some of these same things are in the Bible, all right? And when you do this and you educate yourself, we always say, listen, someday you may realize, hey, looking in the mirror and the ballot box, you know what? The only person that's going to be able to do this is me, and you'll run. But there are some of you that are not going to. And I don't blame you. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. You know, keep that evil out of your life. You don't need it because it is corrupt and swampy and it's not good. And why would you want to bring that home? You don't want to be involved in it. But that doesn't mean that there's nothing you can do. The greatest thing that you can do is now, when somebody's running for an election, and we always say, do not pick the lesser of two evils to represent you because you're not going to be represented. All right? So what you got to do is you got to find a guy or gal that's most likely can be swayed into what you want to do. And what you do is when they're running, you run ahead of them and you get to these places that they're going in that you can't campaign to. All right? And what you're going to do is as you get in front of them, you're going to put barriers in front of them. And these barriers is your education that you educated yourself on. And the reason why these are the best educations is because you understand it in your head and you can say the best. Some teacher didn't teach you. Nothing taught you but yourself. You figured this dialogue on yourself. And you're going to ask these representatives these questions. And you're going to put these barriers up in front of them because they're questions. And these are the biggest barriers you can put in front of somebody that's supposed to represent you. And again, remember, do your job. You're voting this person and sending them into government to do your job because we can't do it. It's not a republic. And what that's going to do, and those barriers, what they cause is truth for their records and their government beliefs. So do that. If you can't run for office, and you can't, and I get it, but don't skimp out. Oh, politics is not for me. Yes, it is for you. And not only is it for you, but it's for every generation in your family behind you. If you have children or nieces or nephews, if you don't have kids yet, or whatever, this is important for the people that are coming up the pipe. It says it right in the Constitution for our posterity. And those are the people coming behind us. They are putting this government together at the same time they're thinking of their posterity. Put these barriers in front of these people, make them answer your questions. If they refuse to answer your questions, you let everybody know that's around you. That person running for office to represent you will not answer my question because they don't have an answer. Why don't they have an answer? Because they're not going to do that job on that question. And let everybody know. Now where's that put that candidate? You bet your ass that candidate's going to try and figure out what they're going to do in that situation for that question, whatever the circumstance is in your local and government positions that they're running for. Put the barriers in front of them. This is your country. They're doing your job, and make sure they do it right. Make sure they do it as good as you would do it and better. They're getting paid to do it. You're paying them.
So I know we weren't gonna talk about this next state thing I wanna go over. But we had an interesting development here in South Carolina where Tom Rice got the boot and state elected representative Russell Fry is gonna run for the
Yeah,
spot.
he won the primary, so
Won the
he's gonna
primary.
run against the Democrat for Tom Rice's spot.
So when he wins that spot, there's gonna be an opening. And we've got a candidate that's gonna put his name in the hat. And that candidate is right next to me, Jack. So just pay attention over the next several months. The election probably won't be until like March or something like that. But you know anything to say about it?
This is what we have to do. This is what we have to do. It's microprint.
It looks like a print.
No, I'm just saying, this is what we have to do. So this is what we have to do. Here's my list that I'm gonna work on. And while we do it, not every state's the same, which is a good thing. We don't want every state to have the same kind of elections and stuff like that. We're gonna let you know on this show where we're at with all of this, what hurdles we hit, what we overcome, what was good, what was bad.
We're gonna keep you informed.
You're gonna know, and in the end, win, lose, or draw, this independent constitutional party is gonna have somebody that went through the state process to try and represent the people around them, because after reading these books, I feel I can do an equal or better job than anybody else that's gonna run for that spot.
So if you live here in South Carolina and you got questions about this Russell Fry's district right now, District 106, about 50,000 voters or residents in that area that you represent. So if you have anything that you want to see covered, any questions for Jack, reach out to us on our website, reach out to us on email. Do whatever you gotta do. And like I said, we're gonna give it our best shot, and we're gonna need a lot of help from you. We need a lot of volunteers,
There's gonna be a lot of work, because besides all of this and the list that I got,
because we need about 2,500 signatures for our petitions.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a lot of work.
I also have to let everybody know what the problems are and how we're gonna solve them. There's problems.
Jack will be looking up the problems in the next couple of weeks that he feels that he'll do better at. So pay attention in the future, stay tuned, and we'll see where it goes. It can only go up. That's it. It can only
Hey,
go up.
listen, we'll see. I do crazy things all the time.
So again, we need a party that people can go to. You know, this country's in trouble right now. It's almost possible to get her back unless we all stick together. You know, we've seen so many groups on Facebook trying to do the same thing we're trying to do. Organizing people to stand up against these political maniacs.
Some of them aren't political. That Economic World Forum, phew, and they're in this country up to our eyeballs, people. They have gotten more district attorneys, local people, AOC, half the squad, Swalwell, they've got them in there.
You know, so if you're on a Facebook group and it's not doing well, you're not getting what you want, come over and take a look at us. We can combine these groups together. We can have a lot of members aiming to achieve the same goals. But we need your help in building this independent constitutional party. You know, tell your friends and family about us. If you're on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. We're only showing it to subscribers we have now. We're doing really good. It's time to rise up, Patriots. We're counting on you to help win back this government and our media. Always remember, knowledge is power. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week at the tavern.
Good job.
How'd you guys do?
Sean, how do I stop this over here?
We're still going live on YouTube.
Alright, I made this right.
What?
How do I stop it here?
Hold on, let me get to it.
I'm moving.
Nobody saying anything.
I'm just gonna sit here and smile.
End stream.
Who made it so small?
End.
Right here?
Yeah.